2020. Let's recap, shall we? This year, obviously, has been hard on a ton of people, but with that being said, it also provided me a lot of opportunities that I don't believe I ever would have been able to provide for myself. We start off in January. Not a lot's going on, I'm taking some classes, and I pretty much know that this year is going to be the year that I am really gonna attack theater and really try to get in there on the professional standard. I knew that I was gonna really try to take classes, maybe get a job to afford some more classes, and start auditioning like crazy to try to get as many professional gigs as possible. Later in the previous year, I had kind of found photography to be something that I kind of enjoyed, and I took some pictures on some behind the scenes sets here locally in Brooksville, and it turns out I really enjoyed it. The reason I bring that up is because in February, in an effort to be around film and film sets more often, I ended up going to Miami for 4 weeks to do pictures behind the scenes and stuff like that for a film company based out of Miami called Eminence Media. I was with them for 4 weeks where they were shooting a short series. During this time, I played a lot of airsoft in my free time, and while I was playing, I ended up meeting 2 different airsoft teams, one named Faded Airsoft and the other Team Screech Dragon. More to come on them in a little bit. Things were going really well while I was in Miami, and then boom! Pandemic. That was when things really got interesting. We were watching it pretty closely, and because I was in Miami, I was in a hotspot for the virus to go viral, and if I were to get it while I was there, I wouldn't have been able to come home. So, on March 2nd, I ended up coming home and starting my quarantine period where I just stayed at the house and didn't leave for a very long time. Now let's talk about what happened while I was home. In March, I started talking to Faded Airsoft, one of the teams that I had met while I was down in Miami, and they basically wanted somebody to edit their airsoft videos and their footage that they were getting while they were playing actively down in Miami. So I made a couple videos for them, they liked them, we worked out some rates, and now I'm the editor for their YouTube channel. So right out the door, I was already doing something that I would never have expected to do, but it introduced me to Premiere Pro, and I got really familiar with the editing program and really enjoyed the process of editing. Plus, it brought in a little bit of money, which I was never complaining about. Outside of that, I really wasn't doing much except for sitting around playing video games, watching some TV, having some fun, stuff like that, but over the course of that month, I started to feel more like a waste of space than anything because I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't providing, I wasn't producing. So I picked up my camera and I really started learning about photography and how to do it. I was consuming lots and lots of social media and YouTube content, as well as asking my mom lots of questions. So that's when I really found an interest in doing creative photography in my own home. Going into April, I continued doing photography and getting better and better at it every single day because I basically picked up my camera and did something new every single day. And like most people in quarantine, I started a garden. Most of the plants are dead by now. We are terrible gardeners. We just can't keep any plants alive, and I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why. It's because we neglect them, but that's not the point. Anyhow, enough on that. April was a pretty hard month for me because that's supposed to be the start of graduation season when all of the high school and college graduations are happening. That is April, May, and June. But because of the pandemic, lots of those were canceled and I lost a lot of my photography work doing those events, so over half of my yearly income disappeared like that. I wasn't feeling too good about it, but my luck and perspective totally took a change when I got a call from Mark Sirens, who runs Team Screech Dragon, the other airsoft team that I met while I was in Miami. He basically asked me if I wanted to work for him, going around and doing various events with him, conventions for his board game company, as well as airsoft events for his airsoft team. Of course I said yes, because that's a really cool line of work. So after doing some paperwork and doing some W-2 stuff and working out a salary, I was officially brought on to the team to do photography and media. So right then and there, I brought back in a stable income. I was officially brought on as of May 3rd, and then things got really fun. In May, I ended up traveling to Georgia with them to do some pictures for the event. I'll be flashing some photos on the screen because that was a really cool event. But during that time, I also made this little gem of a video which basically introduced me to videography. Looking back on it now, that video is pretty much absolute garbage, but it did get me interested and led me to learn a lot about video in the future. Then June was a really packed month for me. I continued to learn about photography and basically picked up my camera every single day while I was in quarantine, learning something new and continuing to practice. I ended up applying for this company called VaynerMedia, which is based out of New York. They sent me a challenge where I basically had to create a bunch of photos and video and graphic content advertising for this fake company that they made up to see what I would do if they hired me and brought me on as a content creator. They gave me 3 days. So, my mind whirling, I whipped up a bunch of photo and video content and ended up getting a phone call. Unfortunately, I didn't get hired, but it was an incredible experience and it got me even more in love with photography, videography, and content creation. At this point, I was so invested in photography and video that my mom and I split the cost of a brand new 2020 DSLR, the Nikon D780. This is now currently what I use for all of my videos and what I'm using for this one right now. I also purchased the DJI Ronin S gimbal. So needless to say, my photo and video arsenal was thoroughly upgraded. At that point, I basically never stopped creating. I was constantly going out, trying to do new things, going out with friends, trying new things over and over and over, never ever stopping. With all of this equipment, there were so many possibilities and things that I could do. I ended up creating some commercials for some friends in their companies, creating some fun videos for others, and just having a great time. Then in July, I ended up upgrading my entire office setup to a brand new desktop, which is able to handle the editing softwares far better than the old laptop that I was operating off of. Get it up. Look, it says Dell right in there. Check that out. Woo-hoo. I'm super stoked. I ordered this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, that is big. During that same month, I ended up getting a lot of photography gigs, including doing headshots, doing some video shoots, taking some product shoots, stuff like that, and I ended up getting a lot of different people. At this point, I was doing a lot of free work to really try to get clients as well as build up my resume and my portfolio so that I could start getting actual really good paying gigs in the future. I also attended a small show hosted by Kid Ambient Arcade at their home. More to come on that later. Also in July, I attended Broadway Theater Project, a Broadway theater intensive hosted by Deborah McWaters, and this year it was held virtually, so I basically spent a week in front of my computer doing various dance, singing, stuff like that. Where my spirit can run free, gotta find my corner. And lastly, in July, I attended the FPEA Homeschool Convention and graduated.
Thank
you so much. What's up? So yeah, that happened. I officially got out of high school and was 100% free to pursue whatever I wanted. In August, I attended a dance convention called Revel in Orlando, and immediately after went to Center Stage Dance Academy's intensive out of Tampa. And then, August 17th, I officially started dance classes 4 days a week. In September, I did one of the coolest airsoft events I had ever been to and got to ride in a helicopter for my work. And I got some of the best images I think I've ever gotten during an airsoft game or event. I was brought in by another videographer to do some video shoots and stuff like that. And the last and probably best thing that happened to me that month was I officially got a car. That is it right there. This opened up tons and tons of possibilities for me because before that I was driving my mom's minivan and taking the car away from her whenever I had to do something, which put a lot of restrictions on what I could and couldn't do or what she could and couldn't do because one of us always had the car. The two major events from October was I met with this band called Kid Ambient Arcade, which I had attended one of their concerts the month prior, and then I also met with this other band called Discord Theory. Both meetings ended up with me scoring clients. I'm basically doing media and stuff like that for Kid Ambient Arcade and will start doing media for Discord Theory very soon. In November, Kid Ambient Arcade talked to me about a music video that they wanted to shoot. I immediately got on board and we started shooting. After 3 days of shooting and lots of post-production time, that video will be released on January 3rd, 2021. Also in the month of November, I had a lot of scattered photo shoots and video shoots, and it was just an incredible, incredible month. Then in December, I shot 2 Christmas shows, one for Kid Ammon Arcade and one for a different local band. I ended up taking pictures at an event for the event coordinator of my city, recorded the first episode of what will be a podcast that I will be releasing at some point here very, very soon, recorded the first episode of a different podcast that I will be doing with some other people very, very soon, and also added this to my arsenal. More to come on this very, very soon. And that is it. That is my year in a nutshell. Basically, I was heading one direction with the theater and with Not Innovative, and then that completely got flipped around during the pandemic, and photography ended up becoming my #1 passion at this particular time. Now, that is not to say that theater is not in my future. I am still going to be a performer. I still love performing, dancing, singing, acting on the stage, but photography very quickly and very easily found a forever spot in my heart. I also created a lot of the closest relationships and friendships that I have ever had, and was provided the most opportunity I could have ever have hoped for. And it's finally time for me to jump on the TikTok game and really solidify my social media strategies. So if you want to follow me and my journeys and my growth, you can follow me at any one of my social media handles. And until next time, I really hope that you guys will stick around and grow and learn with me. Stay grateful, keep trying, keep working, and I will see you in the next video.